Sean's Terrace, jumped the curb to circumvent a vehicle that was blocking the road, that was in the middle of the road, and then proceeded down to Fury Lane and made a right-hand turn on Fury Lane. When he got to the intersection of Fury Lane and Finn's Lane, he sideswiped two New Carrollton police vehicles and hit a third one head-on. At that point, New Carrollton police officers engaged the suspect. He was apprehended and then transported to a local hospital where he was later pronounced deceased. So at that point, that's what we have. I will be happy to answer any questions that you may have, but again, keep in mind that this investigation, it's in its infancy stages, and there are a lot of questions that we have that we are trying to find the answers to.
Just to back up on the timeline, as the suspect is in the vehicle coming back towards the officers, he's shot during that time as well, or for the initial shooting beforehand?
So we don't know at what point he is shot. There is an exchange of gunfire, but we do not know at what point he was shot.
And the family member, male, female?
Female.
So it came out early on that this was a response to a suicidal person call.
Correct.
Can you explain a little bit about that call? I guess the initial call that came out.
So basically, what we had received was that there was an individual that was banging on the door, and that he was suicidal, and that's all we have at this point.
How many officers were injured in the?
Thankfully, none of our officers were injured. There was one officer, a New Carrollton police officer, that was transported to a local hospital. And I believe he was involved in one of the collisions with the suspect. But it's my understanding he's going to be okay.
So Prince George's was called to the scene initially, and then New Carrollton assisted?
Correct. Correct.
As of right now, what is the status of the officers involved in this incident?
The status of the officers, so naturally what we'll do is we will commence an investigation into the departmental shooting, and they will be placed on administrative leave.
And how many officers approximately were involved in this entire thing?
So 2 Prince George's County police officers, and we believe 3 New Carrollton police officers.
Any damage to cars, homes with gunfire at all?
So yes, the initial vehicle that the suspect got into has sustained a number of bullet holes. The backup vehicle also has a bullet hole through the windshield, and then the New Carrollton vehicles both were sideswiped, and the third one was hit head-on, but I don't believe there's much damage there.
And were there just Prince George's officers opening fire, or also New Carrollton as well?
Both Prince George's and New Carrollton, correct.
Obviously, this has to be a lot for these neighbors to have woken up to overnight, and also a lot for officers and everyone that's involved in this. I guess, what is the message that you could send to the people who experience all this overnight?
You know, things like this are tragic. We have a family that has lost 2 family members, and they live in this neighborhood. So, you know, clearly these neighbors are going to be waking up and you know, having to deal with this having occurred in their community. You know, so the only thing I can say is that, you know, we look out for one another. If someone is not feeling right, we make sure that we reach out, you know, try to get some kind of attention, whether it be you know, contacting a doctor, a hospital, or you know, a county agency. Just making sure that we don't ignore someone who is experiencing you know, a mental episode or something like that.
It sounds like when you got the initial call that you may not have been made aware the subject was also armed. Is that the case?
The initial call came out, said he might be armed.
Might be. Okay.
Correct.
And then almost upon arrival, immediately he begins to...
Exactly. And in fact, our officers had not arrived at the scene yet, at that address. When they arrived in the area, they came under fire.
And do we know the relationship between the suspect and this family member?
At this point, we're looking into that.
And so, female relative has died, subject is now dead, and he was at the home of another family member that he was banging on the door.
Correct. Correct.
And does the suspect live in this area?
It's my understanding he does.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, Chief Souvenir.
I tried. I tried. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Hi, Justin.
Thank y'all.
Yes, good to see you. How are you?
So far, so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, long week, but otherwise, not bad.